43% of daily behavior runs on automatic habit, not active choice. That is the annoying part. Not because it sounds dramatic, because it sounds familiar. You know the ritual. The notebook opens, the app opens. The grand plan arrives with its own little spine and its own optimistic title. Tonight, this time, you're going to be the kind of person who starts early, finishes cleanly, and does not get lost in the middle. Then the next morning arrives, and the person who made the plan is nowhere to be found. You reached for your phone while I was talking, didn't you? It happens that fast, not even out of rebellion. Just out of reflex. One hand drifts toward the bright little rectangle before the rest of you has even decided what day it is. That is the problem. Not laziness, not a lack of character. Just the fact that motivation keeps acting like it owns the building, when really, it only rents a room. Systems show up anyway. They do not wait for the mood to improve. They do not ask if you slept badly. They do not care that the day feels heavy. I did this exact thing last week. I opened a blank document, renamed it something vague and ambitious, and spent the next 20 minutes making the folder look ready for work. Not the work, the folder. There is a difference, and the difference is usually where the afternoon goes. That is the little humiliation of it. You are not failing in some dramatic, cinematic way. You are failing in a very ordinary way, with tabs open and a clean desk and no actual movement. And that is why people keep promising themselves a fresh start, as if a fresh start is a feeling they can summon on command. They wait for the mood, then the mood negotiates. It asks for a better breakfast, a less noisy room, a more meaningful reason. Maybe tomorrow, maybe after the email, maybe after the coffee cools down. By the time the inner committee finishes meeting, the day has already slipped into one more well-organized delay. Researchers at USC found that 43% of daily behavior runs on automatic habit, not active choice. 43%. Almost half of what you do is not a dramatic decision at all. It is a path your day already knows how to walk. That means the question is not, how do I become more determined? The question is, what am I leaving on autopilot that should have been decided before the day started? The limitation is simple. A habit can carry you only if it is pointed in the right direction. That is why the first real shift is embarrassingly plain. Do not ask yourself in the moment whether you feel like beginning. Decide in advance when and where the thing happens. Put the writing at the same table. Put the workout after the same commute. Put the call before the inbox, not after it. This sounds small because it is small. And small is exactly why it works. A decision made earlier does not need to be refought later, when your brain is tired and every option suddenly looks negotiable. Goldwitzer at NYU found that deciding in advance when and where to act doubles to triples follow-through. Doubles to triples. That is a huge change for something that looks almost offensively simple. The personal consequence is obvious. You stop depending on a version of yourself that only appears on lucky days. The limitation is that advanced decisions do not save you from chaos forever. They only make the first move less fragile. But that first move is where most plans die. And if you have ever lost an entire evening to the false comfort of preparation, you already know this. You clean up the workspace because the workspace is easier than the task. You reread the email because rereading feels like progress. You open 3 tabs before reading the first article. That one is my favorite because it pretends to be effort. It is really avoidance wearing glasses. Motivation loves to arrive with good posture. It speaks in full sentences. It says, I am ready now. But readiness is a terrible system. It changes with sleep, weather, hunger, noise, and one irritating message from someone who could have searched for themselves. A system does not need a speech. It needs a cue, a place, and a next move that is already decided. The benefit is not just productivity, it is relief. You stop spending energy on the same question every day. Should I begin? You can feel the cost of this in small, stupid places first. The report gets finished after the deadline instead of before it. The message stays unsent until the moment it becomes awkward. The room becomes a museum of the half-started intentions. Unopened notebooks, optimistic calendars, the charger that appears near the same chair every week like it has given up on you. None of that feels tragic in the moment, feels manageable. That is how it gets you. And then one day, it is not just a messy afternoon. It is the missed appointment because you meant to leave earlier. It is the bill paid after the late fee. It is the training session skipped because you spent the whole morning waiting to feel like the kind of person who trains. The cost of waiting for motivation is that ordinary life starts charging interest. Small delays become expensive very quietly. This is where people usually misunderstand the point. They think systems are cold, mechanical, almost impolite. But the truth is the opposite. Systems are kinder than motivation. Motivation promises your best self. Systems protect your ordinary self, the one who is tired, the one who is distracted, the one who has already had a day. And that ordinary self is the one who actually has to deliver. Norcross at the University of Scranton, in the Journal of Clinical Psychology, found that only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. The other 92% relied on motivation. That number is brutal because it is honest. It tells you what happens when a goal depends on a feeling that was never built to stay. The limitation is that New Year's resolutions are only one kind of promise. So the number is not the whole human story. Still, it says enough about what happens when intention has no structure under it. You can see the pattern everywhere once you know what to look for. The person who says they will start on Monday. The person who believes a better month will arrive like a gift. The person who keeps a little list of changes as if writing them down is the same thing as making them real. I have been that person more times than I want to count. Last winter, I made a perfect plan for an early morning routine, and then spent the first 20 minutes of the morning deciding whether the room felt sufficiently quiet to deserve my attention. That is the lie inside motivation. It makes you think the hard part is emotional, as if the missing ingredient is enthusiasm. But enthusiasm is unreliable by design. It is supposed to come and go. Your life cannot. Your bills cannot. Your work cannot. Your body cannot. So if your plan only works when you feel like doing it, it is not a plan. It is a mood with paperwork. What you need instead is a next move that has already been decided. Not a dream, not a speech, a decision that lives one step ahead of your hesitation. If it is writing, the file opens at the same time every day, and the first sentence is already chosen the night before. If it is exercise, the clothes are out before you sleep, and the walk begins before you can negotiate with yourself. If it is a call, the number is pinned, the time is fixed, and the phone is picked up before the first excuse gets warm. This matters because friction is where motivation dies. The more choices you have in the moment, the more chances you have to disappear into them. Should I do this now or later? At the desk or on the couch? After this email or after lunch? Every one of those questions sounds harmless. Together, they become a door that keeps closing before you step through it. Advanced decisions remove the door, or at least they make it too narrow for your excuses to walk through comfortably. That is the kind of boring strategy people underestimate until it saves them. A small cue near the coffee machine. A specific time after lunch. A notebook that stays on top of the keyboard instead of buried in a drawer that somehow becomes a storage solution for your better intentions. The point is not to be more disciplined in the abstract. The point is to make the right move, the easiest move, before the day can contaminate it. And yes, there is a cost to this shift too. It asks you to stop romanticizing the version of yourself who does everything in a burst of inspiration. That version feels nicer, more alive, more like the hero of a documentary with soft lighting. But the real work usually belongs to the person who does not get a soundtrack. The person who begins because beginning has been made simple enough to survive a bad mood. That is the deeper truth here. Motivation is a fair weather friend because it is built around the fantasy of the exceptional day. Systems are built for the average one, the rainy one, the distracted one. The day when your inbox is rude, your sleep was short, and your brain has the grace of a shopping cart with one bad wheel. A system does not make that day beautiful, it makes that day usable. So the move is not to pray for more energy. It is to decide earlier than your mood can interfere. Put the action where it belongs. Same time, same place, same trigger, same first step. Leave as little to the moment as possible. The moment is already doing enough damage on its own. Once you see that, you stop treating consistency like a personality trait and start treating it like a design choice. And maybe that is the uncomfortable part. Because if the answer is a system, then you do not get to wait for the feeling anymore. You do not get to keep telling yourself that the right version of you will appear once the stars line up. You have to build the next move before you need it. Quietly, practically, without the drama. That is why the notebook matters less than the time you put it down the night before. That is why the app matters less than the place you open it. That is why the plan matters less than the fact that it was waiting for you before you were ready. 43% of daily behavior runs on automatic habit, not active choice. 43%, and the rest of the day keeps pretending it is more flexible than that.